Okay, I think we are ready to start our next session, and we're going to start that in a little bit different way than the previous ones. We're going to start with the video, so could you please play?
It has become essential how we operate in SSC, GBS today. It's no more about delivering services or ticking the boxes. It is to support business in decision making. It is to leverage acting as advisor to the business. It is being proactive. It is about creating and adding value to the business.
By fostering collaboration and using data-driven insights, business partners help streamline processes, enhance decision-making, and deliver greater value across the entire organization.
However, at Zendesk, or for any other software development or software engineering company, it has slightly different dimension and meaning. Ultimately, it gets down to the product ownership, system ownership, which enables us to define the identity of the software development centers. And last but not least, to prove its ability to innovate, because innovation is something that drives the business forward.
Service organization needs to understand what matters for those who actually produce and sell. It is also about finding the right alignment between what is needed, costs, and what is scalable.
For business partnering, the main differentiator is to see, are we doing it with a purpose to support the decision-making process in the business?
Business partnering transforms the finance function into a vital component of strategic planning and execution, ultimately driving better business outcomes.
We see business partnering as an effective cross-function cooperation. And that means not only contributing to delivering jointly on business goals of our business partners, but also speaking their language.
First of all, I demystify GBS. I personally prefer to say capability center, and I also make sure that our business partners, they truly understand and feel that the solution is built for them, and it's only going to work if we have shared business objectives. I like to use the term, there is no one clapping hand, and to make sure that we are all successful here, we need to cooperate closely, and they need to help us to understand their objectives.
Trust and trust building is not different in GBS than anywhere else. It's about being open and candid, also available to speak and being transparent.
You can build this only by long-distance, high-quality cooperation with your business partner. And this means that you should create your brand as GBS based on three most important pillars: responsiveness, proactive approach, and knowledge.
Little by little and success by success, you are making sure that the company understands that you are better prepared than anybody else in order to deliver, and basically to ensure that the success of the overall strategy, it also depends on you.
In the end, I strongly believe that you almost never remember what specific person told you, but what you definitely remember is how did you feel around such a person. So my intention always is to get into our team the people that are able to build deep relationships with our business partners.
Artificial intelligence can actually help by augmenting the business partnering, providing tools and the data, but it lacks the human skills in communication, strategic thinking, and relationship building.
This type of technology is only a tool that augment our skills, but do not replace the need that we have to develop such capabilities?
I think we need to be close and understand how and when we want to pick up on that journey and what is that we want to achieve together.
So as you might guess, we're going to talk about business partnering at the moment, and I would like to invite our 5 speakers to the stage. Hanna Piwowarczyk, EMEA FSS Center Head, Finance Director, R2R Operations, Finance Shared Services in AbbVie. Agnieszka Malinowska, Director, Site Leader, Ecolab Services Poland. Roland Walters, FP&A Director, CGMA in IAG GBS. Pawel Majkowski, Content Engine Senior Manager, PepsiCo. And Tomek Krzyzak, VP of Software Engineering, Site Leader in Zendesk. You have very complicated position names, all of you. Stage is yours.
Thank you very much. So welcome to our panel. We have heard through the movie, I would say the most common words were actually building together. So the question that I would like to actually start with is, how do you build in your organizations the business partnering? And maybe we can start with Tomek.
Good afternoon, everybody. So in our world, in the software world, actually building the business partnering is actually slightly different. By that I mean that actually we want to become actually the partners in business. So ultimately it gets down to actually us building high performance teams which are essentially capable of delivering the products and solutions to the customers. Thanks to that, thanks to the execution, we are able to win the trust with the business and establish ourselves in the role of true partners in business.
Roland, what about you?
So for me, I think, good afternoon, everyone. For me, I think it's important to start by defining what we mean by business partnering, because I've seen it mischaracterized a number of times. I'm approaching this as a finance director, so I'll give a finance perspective. But for me, business partnering consists of 2 elements. Firstly, you support the business unit or the function. And from a finance point of view, that might involve providing data analysis, scenario planning, that sort of thing. But the second element is challenge. I think if you're not challenging your business unit or your function, you can't really say that you're providing a full business partnering service. So I think that's number 1, be very clear on what you mean by business partnering. Number 2, I think you need people that are willing to step up and have the ambition to take on a role like that. It's very different to many of the typical roles in GBS. And thirdly, you need to, I think Tomek touched on this already, you need to have a good relationship with your counterparty. You need to have a relationship built on credibility and on trust. If you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult to do any kind of partnering.
Pavel.
Yes, so hello, I'm representing marketing for PepsiCo, and what I actually very much like about this panel is that we are coming from very different departments, which might not be a good information for you. In marketing, we love stories, so basically a short story on why I think building business partnering in marketing is a bit different. So basically there are 3 reasons. So first of all the capabilities that we set up in PepsiCo are not very much transactional, right? So we are getting content development, we are getting content management. Content engine is the name of the systems, but then procurement. So we didn't just come to take any of the processes and job is done, and then we just work on better processes. But basically we kind of had to win the grounds with the external partners that PepsiCo was using up until now. So external creative agencies, media houses, right? So our services were kind of set next to PepsiCo to, let's say, give the same services as the external partners used to do for PepsiCo. One caveat that we had is that none of those services were actually put as mandatory for PepsiCo. So basically, business partnering was super crucial for us, and what I think how important and how we build it is basically through setting the relations, so all the governance meetings, all the travels that we had to do. Super important for us was also to have what we call ambassadors in the markets, right? So those guys that we actually knew through our contacts, and PepsiCo is a company that actually is based very much on the contacts that we make. And those ambassadors were actually advocating for the services that we had in Krakow. And then, of course, comes the quality of the delivery. So kind of relations and the quality of delivery to prove that the service is actually doing a great job for the brand teams and for the teams that were using external partners up until that moment.
Hanna, what about you?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I will probably start with a reflection. Shared services are very unique organizations, one of a kind. We are not frontline business, we are back office functions. So we are not that close to the business versus mainly commercial teams. Business partnering in such a scenario, in my view, cannot be grown by itself through the natural evolution of our organizations. You need to have a strategy to build business partnering, and how we do it in our organization is we focus on the 3 dimensions. First is the communication. Second thing is the building the trust. And the third thing is alignment. So if we focus on communication, what does it really mean? We don't speak in finance on classic communication per se. It's business-related communication. So if you want to do business partnering in finance through the right communication, you need to focus on how commercial speaks. It's typically a storytelling, but what does it really mean? It's comprising the message to the finance organization that is clear, concise, that it defends business case, that it's persuasive and supports the decision making. In terms of alignment, it's more acting as a business partner to align your business goals with the organization, to align expectations, even simple things, alignment on deadlines, alignment on PowerPoint content presentations, alignment on what they expect from us to do. And last but not least, what is important is also the attitude for problem solving. I think we can speak hours about this, so maybe I will step to the panelists with a question: how do you build this business partnering skill set in your organizations? Roland.
Okay, well, I think the good news, a bit of context actually. Earlier on in my career, I was a finance business partner. I'm now based in Krakow, but I was based in the UK as a finance business partner. So I've kind of seen firsthand what finance business partnering needs to be. And I think the good news is that I think here in Krakow, certainly in my organization, we have the skills and the talent already. I sometimes think there's this myth that certainly finance business partnering, there's this elusive skill set, you know, how can we get this? I think we definitely got the talent and the skills already. I think we just need the opportunity to do it. Let me just give one tangible suggestion for how we can build this skill set. I think it's important to find an example in your organization where finance business partnering is being done well, and use that and leverage that and share that best practice. Maybe it's a team that's already doing it very well, maybe it's an individual. If there's nobody in your current GBS, I'd almost recommend spending time anywhere else in the organization where you can learn from that best practice. So for me, that's good news, we have it. We have the skills already, but find where it's being done well and copy that. Going back to my original answer, if you don't have a vision of what it is, and you can't see anywhere an example of where it's being done, you can imagine it's very easy for you, you're going to go off track. So have a clear vision of what it is, find an example where it's being done well, and then copy that.
So, Roland, just a question to you, building on that. How do we get support from the organization to execute what you said?
Well, that's the really difficult bit. That's the really difficult bit. Of course, unless you've got that buy-in from the counterparty, from the parent organization or the parent business unit, it's going to be very difficult. It's very difficult to business partner somebody who doesn't want to be part of that relationship. I would suggest that you start small. First of all, you have to be a subject matter expert. You have to be scoring 10 out of 10 on that. That will help you build credibility and will help you build trust. So that's number one. I think number two, you have to, I mean, this is all called beyond the bubble. I think individuals who are interested in this business partnering, they have to break out of their current mindset. It's not just about the discrete tasks that they perform. They have to take an interest in the wider business, the wider department, the wider economical situation, to bring that richer material to their discussions. And then I guess they need to invest in the relationship with the organization, with their counterparty. And from my experience, if you've got those building blocks in place, the conversations you're having can almost naturally evolve into business partnering conversations. But I would definitely focus on that platform first. I think if you just announce one day, we're going to start business partnering from Monday, yeah, no chance.
Thank you. Aga, how do you build this skill set in Ecolab?
That's a very good question because I think we truly understand within our center that this is what is being expected out of us. If you think about the maturity curve, that is actually the exemplification of how do you, or what would the quality of actually being called a matured process. I strongly believe that, if you don't talk about certain topics, then it's really difficult to build, right? So for me, it's what you said, Roland, like setting the examples. It's really starting with the basics. So getting the trust, so being reliable, being close, being there for the business. I definitely like to, I really liked the example that one of our colleagues shared during the panel discussion that we actually held within company with our controllers who were sharing their examples on how to build the business partnering. The example was around driving a speed car where you have a co-pilot next to it. And basically the driver is really focused on going fast, right? And the person sitting next to the driver is really focused on actually giving the advice, right? And actually seeing everything else around. So for me, being curious what's going on, understanding where we are going. So what is really the target? What is the goal of the person you are partnering with? Getting the interest, curiosity, being reliable, that are things that are crucial to actually get there. Of course, there are different techniques on how to build it. I think exposure is a big thing. If you're not getting exposed to the business, there's no way you're going to learn that. So all the programs which are building your exposure are definitely helpful. So anything that leads to actually getting those qualities and practicing those qualities, it's definitely the answer.
Thank you. Pawel?
Yeah, so maybe I would start with a small trip back in time because GBS for PepsiCo is quite still fresh concept that started 5 years ago only, and some of the capabilities that we have in marketing are actually still being set up just recently, personalization at scale in media teams. So those teams are still growing as we see what is actually needed by the organization and by mostly the brand teams. 5 years ago, I think what we were actually doing is the stakeholders or our colleagues in the markets were faced with the centralization concept, with process changes, with change management. So basically what and how we were building the skill set is with the leadership team, we we're always trying to be very open when it comes to the recruitment process. So any candidate would know that you are not coming to the organization, or in our department at least, where you would have those processes, you would know what to do. You will have on the other side the stakeholders that actually might be a bit anxious about what is happening across the organization. So for sure we needed empathy, we needed patience, and a good planning from the future employees. So that's one thing. But if I can just relate, Hanna, to what you mentioned, I guess what is bringing us close also to the brand teams and what is driving our better cooperation with them is actually the challenges that we have in different projects. And I guess we would not learn as much as we did if it was not for those challenges, right? So sometimes when we had very, high pressure calls on something not happening right, those moments are actually where the leaders, but also the employees or the project managers, they learn the most, because we know actually what did not work within the business, and we thought that the concept is perfect, right? So those moments, I think, are also very, very important for the marketing teams.
Thank you. Tomek?
So from the software development perspective, I think that we have foundation really great. We have great IT talent here in Krakow. But just the engineering skills, this is not enough to succeed and become actually eventually the partner in business in our companies. There are two elements. One, from my point of view, is connected with understanding the business, understanding what customer needs is very, very critical and crucial in order to enable teams and engineers to develop quality products. So this is first thing. The second thing, which is equally important, and some of you who might be in the IT world were struggling with actually leaders, engineering leaders. Unfortunately, engineers prefer to be individual contributors, and essentially growing and developing the leadership muscle, especially here locally, is very, very critical element or ingredient to be successful at the end of the day.
So, a lot of good tricks on how to get there and how to build the skill set. So talking about practicing, having a candid conversation, what would be your ideal state of business partnering? The question is there one really, the future of the ultimate goal, where we should get to? Hanna?
Well, the dream state would be that shared services are at the table where the strategy of corporation is constructed, that we are taken into consideration for decision making, and we are equally skilled in business partnering as the businesses. So we have similar level of business understanding. So we cross the bridge from process thinking, from our complexity, from the communication, which is very deeply rooted in process steps, in terms of finance, accounting knowledge. We call it Einstein talk, and we cross the bridge to the simplification. And being at the table, we simplify, we enable to support the decisions which are important for the future. It's very hard. I think it's a higher level of maturity for shared services. It's also hard because we are so remote, but in hybrid working, in the remote work, I think we're still much closer than we used to be before COVID. Right? So there is an open gate for us to do that. In the end, I think we want to be equally respected. We want to feel that our day at work has a true meaning. It's not just the execution of the processes and service delivery, We report the numbers, close the month, we are experts in SOX controls, we have super power knowledge in S4, SAP for HANA, what have you. But we are actually doing the business with the business. That would be the dream state.
Okay, so walking away from KPIs, walking away from, let's say, easy things to do, but actually getting into the stretch, what do we bring to the table model?
I think the core, the easy things to do, the process things we do are very important. We cannot forget about that our corporations would not continue without what we do today. Yeah, they spend years on outsourcing these processes to Krakow. Yeah? So let's continue that, but to go a level higher, we need to sell something more than expertise in the processes we own. The business might not understand what we do. Yeah? They get the outcome of it. But something more means that we speak the language they speak, yeah? That we give them what they expect. Yeah? So we need to cross this river, go beyond the bubble, and be open to them, yeah? Not forgetting about the core we do.
So Tomek, it would be interesting to hear your thoughts, because you already said that for you, business partner is really about having this ownership already, right? That this is already where you should be. So what is the next step for you?
Yes. So I have the end state, and I have a dream. Let me talk first about the end state. End state is essentially the situation when we will have fully established, fully proficient teams owning the products, actually owning the execution, owning the definition of the product strategy, and actively supporting and working with the customers around the globe. So that is like the end state, right? We aren't there yet. We are working on it. It's more like the journey, and probably it will take us a couple of years, but we'll get there. So this is like the end state. In terms of the dream, I have a dream to actually have it as a business hub where not only engineering or product development is present over here, but we have also other functions. Maybe we have finance partners, maybe we have marketing partners as well, and that we are running actually the business, maybe for Poland, maybe for EMEA, maybe even globally. So this is my dream.
Nice.
And I think I can relate to both of you guys. So basically putting it into the marketing grounds and what we do in PepsiCo is I would love the service to be always chosen as the first one, the in-house one. So kind of to, as Tomek explained, the concept of a hub or as a separate business, it would be great to be treated as a PepsiCo studio, internal one, and then to know that the brand teams are actually first choosing the service to be done in Krakow instead of going to the external partners, and they would go there only if we don't have capacity. So that's probably the end state. And I have one other aspect actually that I would love to see because we are part of strategy and transformation agenda for PepsiCo, and basically with things like we do for video post-production, with content development, graphic support, etc. We are currently flooded with different Gen AI tools that can generate the content, help us do it quicker. So basically all the adjustment on the technology side. And of course, together with the stakeholders again, which just emphasizes how business partnering is important, together with the brand teams, we are trying to choose the best tool to do the basics so that we can focus even more on kind of the creative part, or maybe go more into the creative part of handling the campaigns. So what I would love to see in the future is actually that we have chosen wisely and we have chosen the proper tool because the number of those tools and vendors that can provide them is huge and the choice is huge. So basically it would be good to know that we have chosen properly.
So winning the competition.
Yes.
Roland, how about you?
Yeah, I'd build on what's been said by the rest of the panel. I think for me, the dream end state is that we normalize the idea of business partners in locations such as Krakow. I mean, ideally, we wouldn't be having this panel discussion. Ideally, in 5-10 years' time, or whatever the time frame is, we won't be talking about how do we bring business partnering to Krakow. It will be normalized. In my work environment, I can already get a glimpse of the future. In my team, I do have a couple of individuals through their own brilliance and tenacity and experience. They have already kind of broken through, and they are acting as business partners as an airline group I work for, so they're business partners to the function of the airline they support. But there are so many other areas where we're kind of somehow frustrated by this glass ceiling almost. And in the worst cases, we have all the material to do the finance business partnering, but then at the very last minute, we hand it over to somebody else to go into the meeting, for example, which is very frustrating. But I think we're there. I think we're going to get there. I'm confident of that. And one other thing that probably hasn't been touched on yet, I think it's very important for our people that we add in this business partnering layer. Certainly in my team, so many people, that's kind of where they want their careers to go, and it's kind of like the natural progression. But if we don't have those roles in our centers in Krakow, there is nowhere for them to go. So I think it would be hugely beneficial, not just to our organizations, but also to our people, if we could kind of add this sort of higher tier to the jobs that are available. Yeah.
So to summarize, I think this kind of dream that is, for sure my dream as well, is to actually stop discussing that topic and to have it really embedded in the process and naturally become a go-to source for business partnering and having those processes supported through the business partnering. Thank you very much. Any questions, or anybody would like to share something?
Thank you. This is Kasia from AbbVie. I would like to ask, do you believe that would it be easier to get a business person and teach them finance, or take a finance person and teach them business partnering?
It's a question from AbbVie, so I think you need to answer with Roland.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Personally, I think it's easier to take a finance person and add the business partnering element on top. Earlier on in this discussion, I said you need to start from a strong platform, and I think the strong platform needs to be one of credibility and subject matter expertise. I think having somebody who's got that expertise in finance, for example, breaking into the business partnering sphere is much easier than teaching somebody debits and credits and basic accounting. I don't think that would work for me. But it's an interesting idea for sure.
If I may just add also software engineering perspective, I think that it's also true for software engineers. It's much easier to actually take the software engineer and add the skills on the top of it. And this is something what is quite often seen, that people who have been essentially engineers, they are becoming product managers, or essentially they are running businesses as well. But the other way around, I don't think that it's gonna work.
And if I may chip in then, in marketing with the, let's say, velocity of different capabilities that we have inside, so from content development through A&M financial processing that we also have, procurement, media team, I think the answer would actually differ across those. But I will echo what Roland said, that the expertise still is the basic thing that we need to have. And I think an interesting concept that we did just a couple of months ago, we did reorganize a bit the content development team, where we have the experts kind of in the back end doing 3D designing, graphic designing, video post-production, etc. And then we have account managers that are actually handling this frontline, going and cooperating actually very close with the brand teams. And what we already see is that I wouldn't say we lost, it's still the same company, same organization, but two of the account managers are already working in the sector, right? So this is proving only that this business partnering is actually working if we have great quality in the background, and then great relations that we can build in the front, let's say.
I would only add one thing, that I would love to have also a person from the business actually turning into the finance, because they are the ones who can share actually the knowledge with the finance team. And there's one more thing which is actually, I think, is really great about Krakow. This is what we have seen in our company, that because very often individuals with the different background have decided to choose their career in finance, once they kind of get to this level of business partnering, they're actually using their background from university to actually build their business partnering skills. So that's also very, I would say, encouraging, looking at the diversity of our talent in Krakow. We have a question in the back.
Katarzyna Strama-Czerwaj. Right now I work for the finance transformation, but before I've been in procurement function where actually we had a model of business partnering. Those were people from the business that had a target to connect procurement operations with the business needs. And this concept failed, basically, because the role or the framework or the job description of those business partners were not clear. So do you have any KPIs? How would you measure the efficient business partnering? Sorry, guys.
So that's a very good question, because
ABB.
Some are saying that if you don't measure, you will never get it. I like to think, and I like to look at that from the participation in the meeting and from the number of, let's say, reflection from the business on the support that has been given by the finance function. So, are we measuring that? I would like if I would admit that yes. So we are not measuring that per se. I think that we are definitely measuring that through financial outcomes, because the responsibility for certain campaigns for the price increase is actually lying with the whole team, right? So at the end of the day, it is a common team effort. And through that, yes, we are measuring that. So if you don't have a situation where somebody's blaming that we did not deliver on the price increase because we didn't get the information, I think it's a good measurement of where we are coming from. So the teamwork and actually having the common goals, which are shared between the different functions contributing to the success.
Yeah, I would add to that. It's easily measured through performance reviews, feedback from key stakeholders. Wherever function you are in, there are people who are recipients of your service, and they need to speak if they are satisfied or not. In terms of commercial teams, like finance director at the affiliate, this is GM who says if the FD provides business partnering or not, and it's done twice a year. So we can also mirror that. Yeah? We provide a service to our countries, but going the level higher with business partnering, we can be measured in a very similar way. Yeah? So simply, is your customer satisfied? What's your level of partnering with the business? Do you have the business acumen? Yeah, so did you cross this river from this, process thinking, complexity, up to the level of business talk? Yeah, so I think I agree to what Roland also mentioned before and what Aga mentioned. Let's start to do this, put it into our goals for 2025 as the developmental item, raise the bar in business partnering. Yeah, and we can measure that simply through asking the question for the feedback.
Sorry, I'm jumping in. If I could just mention a group in the UK who've developed a schedule on the basis of relational analytics. And although what's been said I find really helpful, and if we don't take into account the power differentials in a relationship, then we're not going to reflect adequately the quality of the engagement. So I encourage people to have a look at relational analytics.
I will.
Thank you for that comment.
Hello, I'm Beata from ABB. I have a quick question. What is stopping us now from having business partner roles here in Krakow? What are the barriers?
I think business acumen, understanding what the business does, why they do it, how they do it, what are the challenges. Today at the coffee, actually with ABB, I heard that finance guys, they don't know the business. And it's actually true, yeah? We are experts in debits and credits, accounting policies, how to close the month, and within the numbers, to see something more, you really better to go to the factory and see how the product is produced, how it's developed, how the patient is served, yeah? What services do you do? And it's not really part of everybody's onboarding, that would be probably too costly. So to raise up this business acumen, you as a leader, you really need to organize that for your team. Yeah? How we do that in our company, we invite people from commercial teams, from immunology, neurology, oncology, and we ask these people to run a presentation for our team for better understanding. It's not enough, but at least it's something, it's a base. Yeah? Everything else is just a self-learning. Self-learning, asking the questions, yeah? Going for short-term, long-term assignments. It's a lot that everybody needs to do to raise up the skills. But I think when you are at the back end of the factory or in the commercial office, it's much, much easier. But I think it's all doable.
If I may add, Anya, to what you said, in software, the same holds true as well. Business knowledge, business acumen, understanding the customer is absolutely critical, and we need to focus on developing that knowledge, training our employees, our teammates, in order to ensure that they are actually fully proficient. Knowing some programming language is just one thing, but not being able to deliver what customer needs is essentially complete disaster, right? So this is one of the obstacles, and I think that everybody is facing it, that taking that kind of the basic foundational skills to next level and augmenting it with the business knowledge. That should be focused for all of us.
I would add one more thing. For sure, we are always described as a support functions, okay? As a support center, as a back office center, you name it. I mean, all those names of actually being there, support rather than a partner. Being actually bold and going beyond that, I think this is one of the things that is stopping us.
And let me just add one thing as well. I think the unfortunate truth is that sometimes we're actively blocked as well from the organizations we work in. Maybe there's a reluctance for them to share information. I completely agree that if you're on the ground and you go to the factory, that's great. But if there's a meeting and you're not told what was discussed in the meeting or what the decision has been, so we need to find ways to get insided into that information. I think sometimes, certainly I see this in my company, the business units, they may be reluctant to let people into the business partnering side of things, maybe because they're kind of worried that they're going to lose those jobs themselves. I've definitely seen that. They kind of say, we're happy for Krakow to do these functions and these tasks, but we're going to keep this for ourselves, because if we give this away, you know, who knows where it's going to stop. And I think that all goes back to building that relationship of trust. You know, we're not here to steal jobs. We're just here because we genuinely think we can add more value than we are doing now.
Okay, if I may, just one sentence, because I guess for us it might be a bit different. So all the capability all the capabilities that we have within marketing are actually global ones. So basically all the sectors are being serviced by the same, let's say, service catalog. They also have content development for PBNA, AMISA, LATAM, etc., etc. So basically, I think what differs from what Roland, for example, was saying is that we do not substitute any roles that were in the sectors. We actually substitute some of the external partners. So that, I think, is much easier to put us in the position of a business partner especially for the brand teams. And I would say that here in GBS, in PepsiCo, marketing is on this position that at least I would say around 60% of the capabilities are in this type of model, right? So it was an added value to the company to have it in-house. And then we can, of course, create some savings. We can deliver better quality, faster, but we are still compared to those external partners, right? So I guess this actually differs a bit.
Super. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for questions. Thank you very much for a great discussion. And have a good session.
Thank you.